Hi everyone, I'm Phoebe. I'm one of the HappyFabric creative experts, and today I'm going to show you how to make this super cute kawaii style strawberry using Happy Flock, Happy Glitter and a little bit of Happy Flex as well.
So the first thing I'm going to do is mark out the semicircle which will make the body of my strawberry. I've got a pen attached to some ribbon here with a pin in one end, which I will use to stick into my cutting mat. A little bit of give on it, and then you pull it nice and taut and then use the pen to trace out the circle. There we go, the lines are quite faint but you don't need it to be particularly dark. Then I'm going to cut it out. I'm going to do the same again. I've moved my pin slightly further away on the ribbon so I can get a slightly bigger strawberry this time. And there you go. I've now got my two pieces of fabric to make my two different strawberries ready to go. I'm going to decorate them before I sew them. So before you cut out your faces for your strawberries, you'll probably want to measure them to check to see how big you want to make them. So each of my strawberries is a slightly different size. So I think on the smaller one, I probably want the eyes to be about 3 inches wide. And then I think on my big one, I can probably stretch to go to maybe 4 or 5. So when I get into design space, I'll need to resize the images I've chosen to make sure that they're the right sizes. So here we are in design space, and I've been able to find these really cute little kawaii style faces that I'm going to use on my strawberries, as well as these lovely seed shapes that I'm going to do in my favourite yellow glitter and gold glitter, which I think will really pop out on the red and the pink. I'm going to use pink flock for the little cheeks and some black flock for the eyes and the mouth over here. So I'm just going to check the sizing on everything and make sure that it's all correct, having pre-measured everything, so that's all right. My faces in their entirety are measuring the right amount, so that's 3 inches for the small one, and then the big one is coming in at 5 inches, just like I wanted. And I'm going to go over to Make It. Next it will ask you what type of fabric or material you're using. So if you go to Browse All and type in glitter, it will bring you up a whole option of glitter. So I select the glitter, iron on, done, and I normally like to put a little bit more pressure just to make sure that it cuts through everything. There you go, and now we're ready to cut. Don't forget, when putting your vinyl onto the mat, you want to make sure that the glittery side or the flock side is face down with the carrier sheet stuck on nicely. If you need to cheat and find out which way it is, peel off a little corner and you can see that's the glittery bit. So you want that facing down so that it cuts it in the right direction. Here we go with the flock. So this actually has 2 of the little kawaii faces on it. So whilst this may look like a waste of vinyl, there's quite a lot there. I'll be able to use that for something in the future. I didn't want to mess around and cut the pieces individually because I want to know how close they go together so that the faces are even. So then I'll just cut these in half because they're each part of a separate design. and then the same again for the black. And then chop them so that you've got the two separate designs. The next thing I'm going to do is put my seeds onto my strawberries. I'm cutting them into individual pieces so that I can apply them randomly all over the fabric. Once you've done that, you can start laying your seeds onto your fabric. Remember, this is your bottom edge that you're going to sew along, so you don't want to get too close because you need to leave a little bit of a seam allowance. And then same around the top, you're going to gather that in and hide it under your strawberry hat. So again, you probably don't want to get too close to the top. I'm going to use my little heat press, which is like a little iron, to stick all my seeds down in place. Remember, when you're using something like a little heat press, you want to press and hold, don't wiggle it like you're ironing something, otherwise you won't get an even distribution of heat over the vinyl. Now I can peel off the carrier sheet, and there they are, all my fabulous little seeds. I'm then going to use a little bit of this heat-proof tape to stick my face down, just so I know where she's going to be and so that she doesn't move during the next step. Now that it's cooled, I'm going to peel off the carrier sheet again. And there you go, my little kawaii strawberry face. Now it's ready to sew together and stuff. So now it's time to start sewing your strawberry. What you're going to do is you're going to fold it in half along the bottom edge, and you're going to pin along that side seam. If you're a really confident sewer, you don't need to do this, but I always find that it's best to pin things if you're a little unsure. All the way down to the bottom. You're just going to sew a straight line along this edge. I've put white on my machine so that you can see what I'm doing, but you should do it in the same colour as your fabric so that it doesn't show through when you flip it the right way around. There you go, you can see my nice straight line along those edges. Because I've used the salvage edge, I don't need to trim this down or worry about it fraying, but if you have a lot of excess fabric, you can trim it away so that you get a nice straight inside. Here we are at my machine, and I'm just going to sew a nice straight line. If you don't have a sewing machine at home, you can absolutely do this by hand using a straight stitch. Just make sure it's nice and tight and nice and neat in a straight line. There you go. The next thing I'm going to do is another straight stitch all around the top edge of my strawberry this time. I'm going to adjust my machine, and I'm going to adjust the settings to make my stitches as long as possible, because what I'm actually hoping to do is gather the fabric together at the top. Again, you can absolutely do this by hand. You don't need to worry about being quite as straight and even this time. But you want nice big stitches around the top so that you can gather the top end of your strawberry together. And make sure you leave some nice long ends so that you can gather it. There you go. First I'm going to sew the stem of my strawberry's hat. coming in at a little bit of a point around the top, and then coming in a straight line down the edge, about halfway down. Stop and double back so that you've got a slightly open bit at the bottom. Trim off the excess fabric. And then you want to flip your stem the right way round. And there you have it, the stalk for your strawberry. You can stuff it if you like, but I find with the felt it actually keeps its shape quite nicely. Then what I'm going to do is a couple of little snips around the bottom, which will give me something to sew into. I'll then take my hat for my strawberry and just make a tiny little hole that the stem will feed through, and then this is what we're going to sew to the strawberry itself. Next we're going to stuff our little strawberry friend. You can buy special stuffing to go inside these. I quite like using scraps from past projects that I've done. I find it gives them a really nice weight and I don't feel like I'm wasting any of my fabric. Make sure you push it right down to the tip of your strawberry so that you get a really nice shape, and then stuff it as full as you would like. I'm going to use my sewing machine to sew my stem to my hat, but you can absolutely do this by hand. Get nice and close to the edge and then just sew around in a circle. And there you go, your stem is now attached to your hat. Do a couple of knots in the end of your thread just to stop it coming off your needle. And then to hide the ends, I would just feed them inside to the underside of your strawberry's hat, pull it through, and then you just want to tack it in place. Make sure that you are catching the fabric underneath. And then when you're ready, I just feed it through to the underside, do a couple of tacking stitches in place, and then just feed my needle through to the strawberry, through its center, stick it out one end, pull it nice and tight, snip, and then your loose thread is encased inside your strawberry friend. And there you go, your own cute little kawaii strawberry friend. I hope you have as much fun making this project as I did. I can't wait to see what you guys come up with and what you're going to name your fruits. We've come up with a name for mine, and this is Lola and this is Lala. So I can't wait to meet your strawberry kawaii friends.